the podcast, man. Thanks for taking the time to do this, bro.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah,
everything.
for sure, brother. Yeah, so if you could just introduce yourself real quick, your name, where you're from, position, where you're currently playing.
Yeah, my name's Osaze Urhoghide. I'm a centre back, right back, and I currently at Celtic now. Just got a transfer this summer, so I'm
Awesome.
just ready to go this season.
Yeah, it's a great move, man. So where are you originally from?
I'm from London, but now I'm obviously living in Scotland. Originally from Nigeria, but I was
Okay.
born in Holland as well.
Ah,
So there's a few nationalities in there as well.
yeah, awesome, bro. Awesome. So when did you move to England? Did you move when you were younger or?
I moved when I was about 6 years old. My dad just got a better job in
Uh-huh.
England, so the whole family moved over. I played for like a local team in Holland as well, but then
Mm-hmm.
when I got to England, I just played like Sunday league, if you know what that is, just like amateur
Yeah, yeah,
football
yeah. Yeah.
before I got into academy.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so if you could just take us through your journey a little bit, you seem to have quite a good journey so far. I've checked out a lot of your stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you could just take us through, going from Sunday League, getting up the ranks, that'd be great, man.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So start obviously in England started off like just a local team called Feltham Youth. It was just like a local side, just to keep active. Just
Hmm, hmm.
football was what I wanted to do. And then I was able to get a trial at professional club. It was QPR at first. I done really well in the trial. Got to the last stage, but then in the last stage they told me no, I wasn't gonna get signed.
Mm.
So I was disappointed. Then not too long later on, I got another trial at Fulham. I think they might have been Premier League at the side.
Mm.
And for some reason, I don't know why, I just didn't take this one seriously. Like I was really, for some reason, I don't know why I didn't. I just wasn't serious about this one.
How
And
old
then
were you at the time?
maybe about 13,
Uh-huh.
12, 13.
When
And
did you
then
play football? When did you start playing?
I started playing when I was about 5 years old in this
Uh-huh.
local, and this is back in Holland, same team
Uh-huh.
as my brother as well. It's called like
Okay.
SV Hartad. And then obviously when I back to the crowd film,
Yeah.
same thing happened again. I didn't get signed. I think I didn't really go through many of the stages. Might have been cut like
Hmm,
second stage or first stage.
hmm.
And then I was like to myself, oh, the next opportunity I'm gonna get, I have to take it. I have to take it.
Yeah.
And then I think like 3 years went past, 2, 3 years went past, nothing was really happening. I
Mm.
rejoined my I rejoined my Sunday league team again, seeing what would happen.
Hmm.
Then it was, I think I got scouted in a tournament. It just no, I didn't think of it. Just playing football. I was really trying to do the best I can, and there
Yeah,
was a
yeah, yeah.
scout approached me and that he was from AFC Wimbledon, and he was like, "Oh
Uh-huh.
yeah, I really like you in that, and I want to take you on trial and stuff like this and that."
Awesome.
So then I went to, I think AFC Wimbledon on League Two in England at the time, and I went on trial for like I think it was like 4 months or something. It was so long.
Jeez. Psh.
I know, I know. It was,
How
it
old
was,
were you
it
at
was,
the time?
I think I was like 14, 15. I
Okay.
was like 14, 13.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
then,
What were you playing
luckily,
at this time? Still as a center back?
yeah, so as a centre back as well.
Hmm, hmm.
So luckily, in the end, it worked out because there was a lot of sacrifices to
Yeah.
training, LD parents dropping me. So at the end, I got signed. I got
Awesome.
yeah signed first, and then I progressed quite quickly in AFC Wimbledon. I think after like 6 months, I signed a free scholarship
Mm.
at the club as well. I think it's like I think maybe scholarship for like 2 years. So, but I got it
Mm.
pretty early when I was like under 15. Normally they
Hmm,
make the decision after like under 16. So
hmm.
then I progressed with AFC Wimbledon, ended up doing my scholarship, and then I think I made my debut when I was in my second year's scholarship in pre-season,
Wow.
and then
Psh.
pro, the decisions about pros as well. I was feeling pretty confident because I was doing really well, and I ended
Mm.
up signing my first professional contract. I think it was about 17, 18.
Wow, that's
And
awesome, dude.
yeah, so I progressed through AFC Wimbledon, through like the academy, and then through scholarship. And
Mm-hmm.
then I originally signed like a 1 year contract. It was like, obviously, this is what I wanted to do from when I was a kid. Like, I
Yeah,
always wanted to be like a professional footballer.
of
And then
course.
finally signing on paper, um,
Yeah,
like it was done, to be honest. But then
for sure.
and then that summer, the first summer before like my first professional season,
Yeah.
ended up getting. To be fair, the season before had some knee injuries that
Mm,
didn't really like settle, and I thought it did settle. But then over the summer, I was training obviously before the preseason started. I
yeah.
don't know, must have tweaked it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's swollen up. I came back, my knee was swollen for preseason. I was devastated. I was like, oh
Mm.
my days. My first professional contract. It was only initially it was only a 1 year or a 1 year deal plus an option. And then
Were you doing a
obviously
lot of extra work, or what do you think made it swell up?
I think it was a combination of maybe there was a problem that wasn't
Mm,
detected before, and then I think maybe overworking a little bit, maybe
for sure.
instead of getting it checked out properly and or get like a scan. I think I should have got a scan like the season before,
For
and
sure.
I think I made it worse because it was
Yeah.
feeling fine. The thing is, it wasn't even like when it happened, it wasn't even like anyone tackled me. It was like a slight movement or something.
Mm,
And then I came back, my knee was swollen. I wasn't ready for preseason, and
mm.
it was the worst feeling because
Yeah.
honestly I was working so hard, and then it's like the work was done because even the people who weren't even working hard in off season already they're ready for preseason. So
Mm.
then,
Bro, that's a great point. I want to point that out real quick because, like, especially for young guys like yourself, like, you work so hard, you get that deal, and like you feel like a little niggle in your body, and at your young age, you think you're invincible, and that's a good thing, but it could also be a bad thing. You know what I mean? So like
yeah,
sometimes you don't listen to your body, and then you're like, oh, I got to do the extras, got to be prepared for preseason. But you really realize like the most important thing is to actually be ready for preseason without any niggles or injuries. So like
definitely.
I think trying to be like I think in today's day and age with like YouTube, Instagram, following other people's journeys and seeing how hard guys like Ronaldo, Zlatan work, things like that, we get in our mind that we always have to work so hard. But I think one of the most important things is to really try to be conservative with the approach instead of trying to rush, and like trying to have that long term plan instead of trying to get there in 3 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I think I had to learn the hard way, to be honest. Even again, instead of listening to your body, obviously I know better now. I know my body
Of
better
course.
now and stuff. But before, I was always like, if you ask people, I was always working harder than
Yeah.
everyone else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
sometimes even when your body's a bit sore, when it's a bit niggly, I would even continue to push on. And obviously, I know
Exactly.
now the best thing is to be, even if you're not as fit, the best thing is to be fit for
Facts.
preseason. And then you can
Facts.
even, I'd rather be less fit and fit for preseason than 100% fit but injured because at the
Facts.
end, other people are playing. So
Yeah.
I had to learn the hard way. Like when I was younger, I was
Exactly.
sometimes push through injuries, even when I was like, even when I was even down the line, this is something similar happened again. Even because I was
Mm,
so hungry to try to impress for the first team, I didn't
facts.
feel like I got what I deserved, and I had a little injury which I should have gave them more attention to. I spoke to the physios, but I should have like been more like sturdy to them. Like honestly, there's
Mm,
something wrong with me. So I think
mm-hmm.
the importance with like I think especially with young players, like
For
you have
sure.
to listen to your body. I know everyone
For
wants to
sure.
be like Ronaldo and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
I also learned like you need to try progress like your training and not try to
Yes.
do nothing and then try to do
Yes.
know, 7 days in a row because your body needs to build up instead of like it needs to
100%.
progress instead of going from 0 to 100 like overnight.
100%. one hundred
And that's
percent.
that's how I learned. That's how injuries happen and
Yeah.
stuff like
So what ended up? Sorry to interrupt you, but I think that's a great point, and I appreciate the insight. So what ended up happening with the knee at that point?
So obviously I came back. I wasn't ready, and obviously I needed to get a scan to figure out what's wrong with the knee. And then they
Mm-hmm.
happened to find out it was like a meniscus tear in the knee and
Wow.
stuff like this. And obviously when they had the scan, they were like, oh, they saw the specialist and they were like, oh, this one can't heal by itself. It's not gonna heal like naturally. You're gonna have to get operation for it.
Damn.
And the, at the time I didn't know this, but the operation in terms of like operation levels, this one was pretty minor in terms of like obviously you got like an ACL injuries
Yeah.
which are happening like 6 months. This one you could be back after like 3 months. I didn't
Mm.
really know it was as I thought the world was ending.
Mm.
I only had like 1 year contract. I wanted to like work so hard preseason, show where I go and keep progressing.
Yeah.
So then at first I didn't want the operation. I was like, let's see the conservative way. Even though they were
Mm-hmm.
advising me, oh, this one isn't gonna heal by itself. We rested for a bit and I came back into training. Done was feeling good. The knee was feeling good training. I think
Mm.
I'd done a tackle. I blocked the ball
Mm.
and then boom, I felt something in my knee again.
Jeez.
And then me and the physio looked at each other and like, obviously we knew, yeah, we need to get it done. We need to get it done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so obviously I needed to get the surgery done. And after a while, it was pretty tough because I've never experienced something like to recover from a surgery for,
Mm.
and
Mm.
I didn't know. So it was like probably the lowest. I had probably the lowest time of my football career, even till now, to be honest, because I didn't know how
Yeah.
it was. Like it was almost like learning how to run again. Obviously, it wasn't the worst operation, but it was learning how to run again. Because even when I
Mm.
came back, we were doing drills when I wasn't 100% sharp again. People who were slower than me were beating me, and I was like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Yeah.
Like I know it doesn't feel I don't feel sharp because the knees still feel hurting and that, and I had to build it up, and I came
Yeah.
back playing again, and then I think the injuries started to come again. Sometimes we get knee injuries, it can move on to the hamstrings as well. So I came back after a while, played games and that. Then for some reason, I started. Actually, funny enough, um, I came back. I was back, and we got a new manager. Old manager
Mm.
got sacked. The
Mm-hmm.
first session, the first session with the new manager, obviously doing well. I was running. Next thing you know, my hamstring goes,
Jeez.
and I've never actually had a hamstring injury before. Like I didn't really have muscle injuries before. Hamstring goes, and I get injured, and I think this was like a sort of a circle of like hamstring injuries that season. I would
Yes.
come back. I think I was rushed back with the physios. I didn't really know about hamstring injuries. Obviously, I wanted to get back as soon as possible, especially with hamstring injuries. If you don't take care of it, you can get recurring injuries.
Mm. Mm.
So, so I came back. So I came back after I don't know. I can't remember exactly. Maybe like 2 weeks or something.
Mm-hmm.
Training, and then I done it again,
Jeez.
and I was like, rested, done the recovery and stuff. I came back into the game. The worst thing is I done both sides, even in the game. And then
Yeah.
obviously some of the coaches like, oh wait, like what are you doing and stuff and this, you're not taking care of your body and this. And I'm
Yeah.
like to myself, how am I getting injured? I'm doing more. I'm doing my stretches. I'm doing more than all these other guys, and they're not
Yeah.
getting injured. Why am I getting injured and stuff? I was like, oh, because but obviously something I know now is that everyone's body is different. You might need a
Exactly.
bit more than some others. Like obviously I know I got something like in my hip that some other people, so I might have to do a bit more hip work and stuff to just
Exactly.
get ready for the session. I didn't know this before, but I just might
Mm.
need more preparation than other people.
Ex-
And I was like, what's
exactly.
going on? Why am I getting injured? Like, but everyone's body is different. May need a little bit
Yeah.
extra to get ready. So then it was just an injury plagued season, to be honest.
Mm.
I
Mm.
came back, got injured, and then it was just actually I went to international like a camp for Nigeria as well.
Mm.
I could have for like the under 23s, and then I was training. To be honest, when I got there, I was actually injured because the game before I injured my ankle, but I knew this opportunity is so big,
Uh,
I have to go. To be fair, I was able to play because the game before I went, I was able to play. I just had to strap my ankle up. It was still hurting. I went
yeah.
there. First of all, I was training. At first, it was fine, but then later on, there was one session I couldn't even run because first of all, both my hamstrings were
God
like,
damn.
I don't know what, they were finished. Then my ankle was finished. Then plus that, I got ill in Nigeria. I've never got ill like that before. So then I had to come back early. And then obviously this was like March time. Then later on, it was coming to like the end of the season. Obviously, decision. I signed a 1 year contract, seeing like what's
Mm,
gonna happen.
mm,
Obviously, I still felt like they decided that they weren't gonna renew my contract. So then I was in a period of like obviously I thought I should have got like at least like the 1 year deal extra.
for
But then they were
sure.
like, nah, um, nah, they're not gonna give it to me. So obviously
Hmm.
it was a weird time. I think my career, there's bad stuff that's happened to me, but all these things added up for me to be where I am today.
Love that.
And and I think it's only that God that I'm here because
Mm,
during that summer it was tough. First of all, I've seen my friends and my teammates getting moves. They were getting moved
yes.
to Barnsley. Another guy got moved to Millwall. Another guy got moved to Watford. And I was like,
Mm.
God, like, what's going on? I'm like here, injured. I'm working hard. Obviously, speaking to my agent, like, obviously, what's going on? I'm in the gym trying to work hard, even
Yeah.
work on my hamstring because it still wasn't fully. Obviously, I was doing the program given by the physios, and then it was just tough to be honest. So then afterwards,
Of course.
uh,
How so you're telling us how you dealt with it physically, but as we both know, I think mentally is the toughest part. How are you dealing with it mentally? Like you said, I mean, a season plagued with injury. You got a great opportunity after signing your first contract.
yeah,
You see your other boys signing contracts, which is tough. All your other boys are signing moves. You're out injured. I've been there many times before. How did you deal with it mentally? What was your
yeah,
approach?
mentally. To be fair, I've always been someone that's worked hard. Like I felt like, funny enough, I felt like after they said no, I was like to myself, I'm gonna get a better club anyways. But then it was
Love
only
that.
till later on that I was like, when they realized, you're actually released, you're actually without, basically you're unemployed. So it hit me. It was hard, even training. I knew I was working hard. Like I'm a hard worker, so I was obviously
Mm,
doing training in the gym. Even when my friends who in pro clubs went back to preseason, I was there alone. It was raining. There was no one
mm.
cheering me on, but I was keep
Yep.
working. And
Love that,
I just
dude.
I was just like, I just need to be ready for whenever the opportunity came. I was meant to go to like a League One club, and then for some reason, the guy that went there left. So then I didn't end up going. So I was like, what's going on? Like, where am I going? And then out of the blue, Sheffield Wednesday came across. My agent's like, opportunity to go to Sheffield Wednesday for like a week. And this was a club, league higher as well.
Mm,
So initially, I was there for like 1 week. And I think the first session, I done really well. Um, and we went into like we done like obviously the football session, then we went into like the running session at the end, and I was like to myself, I had blisters on my feet, my toes were like bleeding because I don't know for some reason. So we're doing a running session, and I was like, okay, you done well in like the football, okay, like just keep working hard in like
yeah.
just work, show them where you go in like the running as well, because normally I'm like a fit person, do really well in the running. We did the running stuff. Honestly, I was so hungry. I wasn't even doing the drill properly. I was just sprinting the whole thing. These guys are even before like we laughed after I got signed. They laughed like what they were like, what are you doing and stuff like this. But I didn't care. I want to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
this
yeah.
contract. I'm hungry. I'm
Facts.
doing this.
Facts.
I'm doing this. I'm sprinting, doing like you're probably meant to do like 70 to 80. I was doing like a hundred
Yeah.
percent. So we were meant to do. Like, I thought we were done, and then we were meant to do one more left, and I gave it like everything because I thought we were
Mm,
done. So I fell to the ground, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do another one." And then obviously one of the coaches like came up to me and like, "Oh no, no, you're good, you're good. We seen that you like obviously they still like I was working hard. They're like, oh, nah, you take a break, you're good and stuff like this." So then that day I went home. I slept when I got home. The way I said because I was so tired. And
uh,
this is why I say the things that happened bad worked out for good because at the
love that.
time they had three center backs. One of them was an international duty, and then they had two. In the first game, one of them got ankle injury, so they were out for like 6 weeks. which is like pre-season. So in pre-season,
Mm.
I got like so much game time, able to show what I got. So I done really well in pre-season after a week, and then they ended up signing me like same kind of contract initially, 1 season and an option, and then later on, obviously moving forward, 6 months down the line, was progressing into the 23s. I got the opportunity with the first team. It was against Brighton, and it was funny enough. I didn't even think I was gonna. Obviously, they told me I was gonna travel, but I didn't think I was gonna start because we had two other right backs as well. I thought, oh, they're gonna pick one of them. We already had centre
Mm.
back, and I was like, oh. So I came into training like the pre-game. A coach was waiting me outside for me. He was like, oh, the gaffer wants to speak to you. I was like, what? What's going on? Why are they rushing and this and that? I came in his office and he was like, I see like a paper, obviously Sheffield Wednesday, Brighton, because we're playing them tomorrow and that. So I was
Mm.
like, oh, what's going on? And it's like, oh, and he was like to me, oh, I'm gonna start you tomorrow.
The CD11,
And
yeah.
I'm in my head, I'm like, what? Obviously, I didn't say it. I didn't say it, but
Yeah,
I'm like, what? What the hell? I
unreal.
didn't expect it. I
Yeah,
like my debut Premier League team FA Cup. I was like, what? And then what do you call it? Yeah, ended up playing well. We won as well. We were underdogs for the game, 1-1-0.
oh, good for you.
Um, I done well, played 90 as well. I done an interview afterwards, which it just went right. I thought I was just doing an interview, being myself. I didn't expect to do it. I get home, it's got over like 3 million views on Twitter. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah,
And then I started like 3 games in a row. Next game against Leeds, they were top of the championship. We beat them 2-0.
wow.
And then so stuff was going really well. But obviously, I started my career had some very highs and some very lows as well.
Yes, yes.
So
No,
I
I
think
saw
it
on
was,
your YouTube channel, you
yeah,
posted something great that I always talk about, talking
yeah,
about the highs and lows of football.
yeah,
And for all these guys and girls listening to this story, like the beginning of the journey, I mean, we're gonna get to where you're at now, which is incredible, but
yeah,
the beginning of the journey, there's tons of lows, injuries. You probably thought to yourself, is it gonna work and things like that. And the
yeah,
fact that you just kept going, you kept persisting and kept working hard is that, like you said, I mean, everything happens for a reason, especially when you put in the work and you do the action. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I think, you know, uh, like a couple of things that I noticed you talked about was like your self talk. Talking about like even during that fitness when you had blisters, you were bleeding.
yeah.
Did you always have that kind of that hard work, that positive self talk? Because I think that's huge for
Yeah.
players.
Even this off season, because I've always talked to myself, like even sometimes there's maybe times when complacency might creep in. I'm like, there's like a voice in my head that says like, who do you think you are? Or you think you've made it now? You think you've
Yeah.
done it? Or even just working hard, just keep pushing myself, just keep self-talk, just keep motivating yourself. Obviously, your goals, your whys. That shit just
Mm,
pushes me on, just to achieve more. To be honest, and work hard. Just that self-talk to keep pushing to
for
achieve your
sure.
dream.
For sure.
So obviously, yeah, in the highs and lows, like obviously early on with the red card, that was pretty tough as well because it was my second home game,
Mm,
and then had the injuries as well, and then obviously moving on to that season. I think that season when COVID came in, and
mm,
then luck, when the season restarted, I was training. We had to kind of do like preseason again to get ready again for like last 4 9 games
yes.
to finish the season,
Yeah.
and I was trying to work hard to get like a proper contract, not like a 1 year with an initial. So obviously I was in the first team. I was gonna get game time and stuff.
Mm,
I was working hard. Next thing you know, this is another thing when I said, oh, about listening to your body, because
yes.
I felt like I was done wrong with the club. So I wanted to I wanted to like basically prove to the club. Obviously, I needed to show like everyone what I got again. Um, to with the performances and stuff. So I
Yes.
started to feel something in my knee again,
Mm,
and I felt it like, but it wasn't really stopping me from coming out of training. So I kept on going and stuff and kept on going. And
mm,
now I know like I should have like gone to the physio. So there's something wrong with my knee. You need to
yeah.
check it out properly.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I kind of told them, but they for like, oh, can you give me like a session and that, and but I kept on. There's some stuff now. I'm like, now I know, like, if this happens to your knee,
yeah.
you need to get checked out because
Yeah,
there's
you
one
look
time
back and you're like, man, I should have, it's
because it
hindsight's
was
2020.
yeah because there was one time my knee, I was just standing, my knee gave out on itself, and I just dropped. Obviously, I didn't know before, but that if that something happens to you, you need to get checked out because that's not normal. I know some
Facts.
times where it was hurting. And then I think we were just doing some 5-0s just pre-game, just before the season was restarting. And then our team was losing. I was so annoyed because it was like no one is caring that we're losing in the team. We were getting smoked and our five
Mm,
aside. So I was so angry. I got the ball, it's gonna shoot. I just put so much power in the ball, end up missing, and then I just felt something in my knee. And I knew from there, oh, there's something's up.
mm.
So
The
then
same knee? It was the same knee?
no, it was a different one, the right side. So then I
Uh-huh.
stepped off the pitch. Obviously, they stopped and they were like, "Oh, you're right in that." I came back on the pitch. They passed me the ball. I stepped on the ball, like put my like toes on the ball, and then I knew, nah, it's
Yeah,
done.
yeah,
I just walked off.
yeah.
Obviously, got a scan again. Ended up being a really bad injury, and then they were like, "Oh, we're gonna have to wait 6 weeks. If 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 it heals, then you can do like a conservative like recovery. If it doesn't,
Mm,
it will need like a major surgery, six
Jesus.
months.
What
The
was
worst
it?
thing is it was like a meniscus. It's called something like meniscus root tear. He was like it's like a really rare injury. It doesn't. Someone told me that a player had this and they never came back the same. So this was and this was me getting told like in the period where I was like waiting 6 weeks. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
the
waiting.
worst hearing that from someone, man.
They had an injury and they didn't come back the same player. So I was like, oh my god. And this injury, I couldn't even do much. Like you know, with some injuries you do strength work. This one, it was just
Yeah,
basically like rest. See, after
that's the
6 weeks.
worst, bro.
Yeah. So like I'm like in limbo. Like I can work hard, but that work hard could like be useless because I'm gonna be have an operation, be out for 6 months.
Exactly.
And this is why I said things that happen bad ended up being for good because ended up not needing the surgery. I came
Mm,
back after 6 weeks. They said, "Oh, it's healed."
mm,
Then I came back. Unfortunately, I had to miss preseason because our summer holiday, off season was only like 3 weeks because of turnover after COVID. And
mm.
then the first start, I had to get back in. I started training, done the recovery. Obviously, when I got back, I was struggling to get back into the starting 11.
Yeah.
Uh, and we made new signings at centre back as well.
So
It
you
was
were playing center back, not right back at the time?
at first when I made my debut, I started off as I made my debut as a right back, but the manager knew that I played centre back, but I also knew that I could play right back, and he seen me play as well, and he was like, oh, he wanted to play me, but he knew
Mm,
that my main position was centre back. So we had about I think we had about six centre backs at one point. This was like in at the end of preseason, and I'm like to myself, oh my days, we got six centre backs. I'm injured at the moment. Like, what's the chances this season? Like, this is how mad it is. This is how mad my career has been. It just so obviously we progressed, struggling to get into the team after I recovered from injury.
yeah.
Um, then I think it was only till like December we started getting injuries as centre back. It was only to
Mhm.
December we got a new manager again. I didn't really play under him, and then he got sacked, and then it was we had third round FA Cup against Everton, and I was on the bench for that game. But the guy that was starting centre back had like a shoulder injury,
Mm,
and actually he got COVID as well, so he ended up having to miss that game. So
jeez.
this I call this game. I got a shirt. I'm gonna get framed. I'm gonna call this like revival because
Mm,
it was the because it was obviously people knew like obviously after my debut after I played, oh, is he the same player? Is he still as good as he was? Because it was like the
exactly.
first game I'm starting in like almost a year because of COVID, because of injury, and not getting in the squad. So I needed to prove myself.
Hmm.
Like, I still got this. Like, it was a big game as well against Premier League. It was on like the main event as well on TV, and I was like, oh, I need to perform. I was telling myself in the hotel room, like what if this the last opportunity? What if this is it? Like you need to. That's why I sometimes tell myself, what if this is the last opportunity? Because I think sometimes we think, oh, we're gonna get so many opportunities. I think in football that's not the case. So I
Yeah.
was like, I need to perform. Ended up doing really well. We lost 3-0, but I was like one of the standout players of our team, and that's how really reignite my season again. Started playing. I think I played like 17 appearances second half of the
Mm.
season,
Mm.
and and that's really what got me this move to Celtic as well, which is crazy as well because
It's awesome.
from being like at the bottom of like so many centre backs, and then they got injured, and I got opportunity, I done well,
Mm.
and got here, and
Yeah.
then obviously moving to Celtics is a different kind of fish, to be honest. Like I think with football is more. I think if you're not mentally strong in football, you're not gonna last in the top level, to be honest, because
Yeah.
you're gonna have fans on you. You're gonna have people saying you're
Critics.
not
So
good
many
enough.
critics.
I think you just gotta get used to it. I think you're always gonna have haters, to be honest. Like you're always gonna have
Facts.
people. Obviously, you should be a critic of yourself as well, wanting to improve. But you're always gonna have people saying, "Oh, you're not good enough." And sometimes I
Mm.
feel because I was like, oh, these people who didn't
Mm-hmm.
think I could play here or didn't think. The thing is funny enough is like if I wasn't the way I was because I was doing before I got the move, I was doing extras about before training because I wanted to improve like myself technically, physically as well. So I
Yeah.
come in like before the session, maybe 6 o'clock. Before I was doing like doubles all the time as well,
Mm.
and even when I was like starting, but I'm just trying to improve myself. Sometimes they were like, "Oh, why are you coming in so early and this and that?" Sometimes
Exactly.
they would laugh, and obviously I look back now and that it all paid off. To be honest, like it all paid
Exactly.
off why I'm here. To be honest,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't say I was the most talented from those players that were more talented than me even during my journey, but they aren't like the level that I am right
Not as
now, or
persistent as you, man.
yeah, they weren't really some of them aren't even in the game anymore, which some of them were really talented, and it's a shame that
Mm.
they're not in the game.
Mm.
And
Yeah, but I think that work ethic, I think as we talked about before, it has its pros and cons. And one of the biggest pros is it keeps you in the game, like always wanting to, like you said in the beginning, you'd never want to be complacent.
yeah,
So it keeps you in the game, it keeps you continuing to work. But I think one thing that I've noticed throughout the whole journey is you seem not to give a shit what people think. And I think that's also a very underrated, thing. Like, for
I,
example,
I
with the fitness, like in the beginning, like, you know, you can like be with the crowd and like do it at their pace, or you can prove to the coaches that that you are the fittest guy there. And
yeah,
then, throughout it seems like, you just want to keep pushing, and you just care about your own what you think about yourself, which I think is like very big, but easier said than done.
yeah, I think even when we're doing fitness stuff, it's sometimes you got people like wanted to take it easy.
Of
Let's say after
course.
the game, sometimes when you don't play, sometimes you do the running to obviously keep fitness as well. Sometimes they wanna like just take it easy, like, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Like, I'm not even getting no work of it. Like, I'm gonna go my own pace. Sometimes
Yeah.
I even okay. Sometimes I go my own pace so I can get my work in, and even I talk to myself sometimes. What if I conform to those levels, wanted to be with them, not wanted to be scared? I might not be here where I am now. I might still be at a club,
100%.
or I might be unemployed, to be honest, because I was scared to keep working myself. And I sometimes ask myself, these at the end of the day, these guys aren't gonna pay your bills. When you
Facts,
when you when
bro.
you when you want to
Facts.
pay your bills, these guys aren't gonna care about you. So why are you gonna care about them when
Yeah.
they're not gonna matter, to you honest? So I think you gotta get to the point where like these guys aren't gonna pay your bills. These guys aren't like if you're gonna allow people to dictate your life, you're just gonna be prisoner for the rest of your life, to be honest.
Love
And
that,
I
man.
think that's why you gotta be. Sometimes it's hard, but sometimes you just gotta not care, to be honest, because at
Yeah,
the
you
end of
got to
the
be
day,
ruthless.
yeah,
And I mean, the I always try to say it like the quicker you could realize that no one gives a shit about you and your career, and you are the most important. You are the one that's in control. The quicker it is, like, who
Yeah.
cares what your teammates say? Because like at the end of the day, we know how football is. Like everyone's competing against each other, and it's not a pretty world. It's a harsh
It's
world.
a ruthless world, to be honest, and
Exactly.
they won't care, to be honest. Like you're competing against other people. There's so much politics in football that a lot
Yes.
of people don't understand. That you might even be good enough, but just because of politics, you're not gonna play,
Hmm.
or someone else is gonna play as well. And I think what I've learned even during my career, just like with football as well, because when I was younger, I used to like be always like the hardest worker. We always like be pre-season doing mostly like fitness work
Yes.
or prioritizing fitness instead of like the ability of football, like obviously technical work and this and that. So I was always like the
Hmm.
fittest in that. But I lacked the technical ability would that other players would be better at. But
Hmm.
now I realize that you need as a footballer, if you want to get to honest, if you want to get to if you want to play top level football, like the top of the top, you got to be have to be technically like very good.
Yes. Yes.
There's no way around it. Like there's not really any way around it. If you want to play the best teams in the world, if you want to play in the World Cup,
Fact.
Champions League, or the top in the top of the division, you're gonna have to play. You're gonna have to be good at ball. You have to be your awareness have to be good. And now I know that if I did work on stuff, but I would even work on it. But if I was to redo my career, I would really work on it like even more. Make sure I'm
Mm,
sharp. Make sure everything's sharp because
mm,
you got the physical strength as well. If you add the physical strength plus the ability, you're gonna be a scary player to be honest, and you're gonna
facts.
progress even more. And also
Facts.
the hard work plus listening to your body as well.
Which is such a
Because
hard balance.
yeah, I think because sometimes you want to work, you're tired, but you got that mentality, you want to work, you have to work, you have to work, you have to also rest as well, to be honest. You have to
Yes.
recover, or you're just not right, to be honest. Because I've
Yeah.
I pushed myself, even though my body wasn't right. I ended up getting injured, but now I have to
Mm,
understand. Obviously, if you're just not right, just take a break, to be honest.
exactly.
The
Exactly.
most important thing is to be on the pitch,
Yes.
because if you're
You know
injured,
your body best as well. Like, you know, I mean, I think, you got, like you said, like if you have that gut instinct that you don't feel right, it's better to take, the day off, couple of days off, week off, than
yeah,
push it extra and be out for
yeah.
12 weeks than 1 week.
Yeah, because if let's say I was out when I might have not got my debut, I might not play that game against Everton, which would reignite my. You just got to be available. If you're not available,
Yes.
you can't even play, to be honest. So that's
Exactly.
try to stay injury free is one of the keys as well,
For
as
sure.
much as possible. Because if you're not even on a pitch, you can't even improve, to be honest.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah,
Absolutely,
just
man. No,
have the
with that
best.
being said, I mean, I just to give the viewers and the listeners some practical advice. Like, I saw on your YouTube channel, which I really like. You're doing, somewhat at your level. You're doing basic stuff. You're taking the ball, pinging the ball, lace with your right foot. You're working against the wall. You're working
Mhm.
through cones. Just simple touches, just crisp touches. And I think nowadays, we see on Instagram these sexy exercises and, these flicks and that. But, at your level, you're doing the basics.
Yeah.
Any advice that you have to young guys and girls who want to, like you said, improve technically? With that being said, is there any detail that you can give to improve technically?
Yeah, I think obviously the first touch, working on both sides, being able to, I think first touch is everything, and being able to play with both feet. Because I see players like I hate when players are just so one foot. I think especially
Yeah.
like wingers and
Except
stuff.
Messi.
When they're just obviously you got like
No, I'm
some
messing
freaks
around. Yeah,
go.
I'm messing around.
Now you got some freak, but you got some people like they're just so unfit. Because when you play
Yeah.
against someone that's so both fit, it's just a nightmare to play against. You honest, you just like
Unpredictable.
you can go both ways.
Yeah.
It's whatever the picture shows they can able to do. It just a mess to work with. But
Hmm.
obviously, the technical ability, just working on your first touch, um, just working on ball control is like is and awareness as well because to be able on the top level just so much quicker as well.
For
If
sure.
you're too slow, you have to be quick, to be honest.
For
Um,
sure.
yeah,
No,
just
I mean,
awareness.
like even just simple stuff you were doing, like that I always preach and I love doing myself, like the juggling with your thighs, just getting
Yeah,
familiar with the ball and getting comfortable with the ball. I think nowadays you got a lot of people saying, um, not everything has to be game specific. That's what I try to tell young guys. Like you got to first develop the actual technique before you could get game specific.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Just even controlling the ball, like all parts of the body. So obviously, you never know when you might need to control it with your thigh,
Exactly.
your head. So in the game, you're just ready to do it, to be honest. And
Mm-hmm. Of
obviously, football, at the end of the day, football is hard because even right now at Celtic,
course.
football has to be your life, to be honest. Or if you really want to, it's got to be your life. Like your life
Mm,
got to be revolved around football. Like
for
there's
sure.
no like, there's no like shortcuts unless
Yes.
or because one day you're gonna get caught if you take like one day your contract's gonna run out. If you because I got big dreams, wanted to reach the heights, and like it's just got to be your life, to be honest. And I'd
Mm,
rather commit so much and fail than not commit and
mm,
uh I could have ifs and buts. That's
yes.
the worst, to be honest. So
I love
yeah,
that, man. Yeah, with that being said, can you take us through like a typical day in the life at Celtic right now? What time you wake up, what time you're in at the training ground, when you're eating, what you're eating. Just, like a typical if someone was vlogging you. I know I saw you had some off-season vlogs, but like a kind of in-season vlog how things go.
was it preseason pretty much done now. So to be fair, we had a Champions League game yesterday, qualifiers, which we lost. Let's say like a typical day, I wake up pretty early because sometimes like normally like 5, just because I like to maximize the hours in a day, to be honest,
Unreal.
because I like to do a lot of stuff. So in the morning I can get that stuff done. Then normally for training in about 9:30, we can have like breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
Then about 10 o'clock we do our like activation stuff. I don't know. It's pretty much individual. It's not really group. So, but it's a
Mm,
time for everyone to do activation. Half
mm-hmm.
10, half ten to 12 training. Obviously group training. If it's
Mm-hmm.
pre-match, it'll be more pre-match specific. And then 12 o'clock will be lunch. Sometimes it will be gym afterwards. At Celtic, it's not really compulsory. They believe obviously not everyone's different, like, but it's a time set aside that you speak to the sports scientist and ask what you want to do, and
Mm,
he'll give you a program to do. So let's say 1 o'clock to 2 gym session, and then you're pretty much done for today. To be honest, that's a normal
mm-hmm.
typical day.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Obviously match days are different, but match days and sometimes some days the weeks can vary from how many games we have. If we have 2 games a week or 1 game a
Mm-hmm.
week, and then you basically have the rest of the day. Obviously, you may even do some extras after the training. Because sometimes I work with the coaches who is also a centerback as well, so he helps me do like
Awesome.
centerback specific. Because I think before I used to do a lot of individual work, but I think now at Celtic I want to do work with like coaches because I think when
For
you're
sure.
working with someone else, it's better than individual stuff because I think it's
100%.
it's also more realistic as well. So I think I'll be doing more with like a coach and working with them and stuff because I think it's
Mm,
better when obviously they can give you tips as well.
mm-hmm.
And then yeah, that's obviously in terms of food. Um, Breakfast I normally have like sometimes like an omelette with toast and baked beans, or like 2 fried eggs
Mm-hmm.
and toast baked beans for like
Typical English
breakfast.
breakfast.
Typical. Lunch can vary from because it depends what we have at lunch, to be honest. But
Yeah.
obviously, you got the basics, the rice or the pasta, and then they got the
Mm-hmm.
different variations of like proteins as well,
Mm-hmm.
that they have, and obviously the vegetables at training. Then for snacks, I usually like the Greek yogurt with like strawberries, some
Mm-hmm.
nuts, bananas, and like honey with it. Um, and then for dinner, I make like meal preps as well because I think it just allows you to eat like healthy,
For
and it's
sure.
less time consuming as well. Just allows you to be more consistent with like food and that. And, like you got
100%.
food at home that's done, so then you just
Yeah,
get it out, warm it, and then it just
exactly.
keeps it good, and it saves money than eating out all the time as well.
Yeah, I mean
So
it's huge, man. Like when you come home and you're super hungry, like the last thing you want to do is cook something up, you know. So like you said, having something ready in the fridge is huge.
and it can just allow you to not even cheat yourself. Like instead of like you just come back, you wanna feel like having something unhealthy, but oh, you
Yeah.
got a meal already set and ready to it, so you can
Yep.
get that out as well. So
Exactly.
yeah, that's pretty much a typical day, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, sometimes pre-season there could be double sessions.
Mm.
Um, Obviously sometimes recovery days where there's not really too much training. Sometimes pool sessions, but that was a typical day.
Mm. So in terms of like gym work, physical work, what type? I mean, what type of stuff do you like to incorporate in the gym?
In the gym, in the off season we had like a program to do. It was just like specifics on like sometimes quad dominant or hamstring.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep it. I think obviously they have some stuff there for injury prevention, like
For sure.
Nordics and stuff. So
Yeah.
hamstrings. Obviously, I do work now with my other program for my knee just to keep it strict. Obviously, like prevention is better than cure
Fact.
or cure. Yeah, that's right. So
Yeah.
obviously, I just do like, knee stuff just to keep my knee strong and the body stuff around it just to prevent injuries and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it depends. Since we have some like 2 games a week like now, it kind of varies how much you want. You want
For
to keep
sure.
fresh for the game and stuff.
For
So
sure.
it might be not a set like exactly each and every week. You might have to tailor it depending on like the games we have,
Which is
or
huge.
yeah. Normally in like a recovery, I do uppers, but
Mm.
like with the leg stuff, you just have to be careful. You don't want it to be too
Exactly.
heavy and
Exactly.
be sore for the game because the game's the most important as well, to be honest.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I say
It's
you could have the best diet, you could I don't know have the best gym program, but if you don't perform match day,
results are
that's
what
what
matter.
yeah it doesn't really matter. Like your results will matter, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good to be honest.
For sure. So what do you like in terms of mindset? Do you notice like any difference in the Celtic players compared to where you were at in England, or is it similar to, the high levels in England?
I think Celtic, I think just because you're at a club that's has so much history of winning stuff,
Yeah.
and I think it's just a demand to win, to be honest.
Yes.
Before I moved, I knew how it was like, but obviously now being here, the pressure to win, pressure to perform, even
Mm,
a draw sometimes the fans are angry of a draw. They're not happy. They want
yeah.
they just want the club to be successful, and
Mm,
especially with Rangers winning last season and stopping them from getting 10 titles, 10
mm,
titles in a row. There's a row. The rivalry is something that there's no other rivalry in England like the Rangers Celtic. Obviously
mm,
now being in it, I know how crazy it is. Like the pressure to obviously with a club so big as Celtic, I think
yeah.
just the mentality like second isn't really good, to be honest. Like it's
Which is crazy.
first or nothing, and that's even as in that could push you into training as well. Like you need to
Yes.
perform every game you play. You need to perform. Like it doesn't matter like how you're feeling. You need to perform because the fans are on you. They just demand. They're just so passionate for the club and love the club and want the club
Mm,
to win. So every like that's one thing that was different from my old club. I
yeah.
think it's just the demand to win, the
Mm,
demand to win, the expectation of success. To be honest,
mm.
and obviously just
And like you
the
said, you
pressure.
notice it seeps into training, that mentality.
Yeah, yeah, even for yourself as well. I think even into games as well. Like it's like almost like you have to be 100%
Yes.
every day to him. I think I used to think I was like dedicated before, but like the level of dedication now, it has to be it has to be there, or you're not gonna get where you wanna be, to be honest. Then like it's gotta be your life, to be honest. Everything your life rolls around. Make sure
Mm-hmm.
you're ready for training, for
Mm-hmm.
games, even your sleep as well. Make sure
For
you're ready, to
sure.
be honest, because before. I thought I was dedicated, but now like, oh, he's got to go to
Yeah.
another level to be honest as well.
Yeah. I mean that little edge, that little difference, like you said, what with focusing on the sleep, focusing on the specific rehab, prehab, recovery, all that is massive.
Yeah, yeah, but I think the main thing is just the demand for success. That's and expectation. That's the two biggest things from my old club,
Mm,
and
for sure.
but
But yeah, man.
I think yeah, go on.
No, no, no. I just, I think the for the listeners and the people watching, just the development, like from when you signed your first contract at Wimbledon and now is just massive, you know. And
Yeah,
what was it? Only what is it? 4 years apart?
not even
Wow,
like three, three since I think signed first professional contract 2019
wow,
April.
massive.
It's been like 3 or 3.5
Wow.
since signing first. So obviously it's been a big rise to be honest. From it's been going up and up,
Mm,
and yeah, I just want to keep working hard to be honest. But now
for sure,
it just takes another level to be honest to get where I want to be to be honest.
for sure,
So
for
yeah,
sure.
just have to keep working.
Yeah. No, I appreciate just two last things. I appreciate you taking the time, man, and showing this journey. I mean, you said it before, but if you were to go back to any age you were at and you have the knowledge and the experience that you have now, is there
Yeah.
any age you would go to, and was there any advice you would tell your younger self?
Um, the thing is in my career, like I feel like if I would have changed something in the past, I
Yeah,
wouldn't be where
exactly.
I am. I think the only thing is I could have changed something to be in a higher level, but to be where I am today, I think I would have gone back to my when I was, I think, to never take an opportunity for granted, like especially with the Fulham one,
Yes,
because obviously I might have not got the AFC Wimbledon one back opportunity again, and I just to keep telling myself, obviously, also work like make sure you're sharp technically as well,
mm,
and to tell myself like you might not get another opportunity, so make sure every opportunity you get, you work 100%.
yeah, yeah. But
So
like you
probably one
said,
of
which is interesting. You said you had that film opportunity. You didn't take the most advantage, but then like you look back to where you're at now, and you say now like you just said, like maybe you're never going to get another opportunity, so you need to perform.
yeah, definitely. Obviously, I hope I get more opportunities to be successful and keep
Of
pushing
course.
on, but that might not be the case, and you just gotta take each thing. You have to be grateful for where you're being and just keep taking every opportunity as it comes in. Because who knows,
Facts.
you also might get an injury that takes you out as well. So just keep. I'll go back to let's say 13, 12, 13. Yeah, just to take every opportunity and keep working.
Mm, mm.
Focus on technical stuff as well. Yeah, those
For
are
sure, man. Great
yeah.
stuff. And just to end it off, what are 1 to 3 pieces of top advice that you would give anyone looking to sign their first pro contract, or like they're out of the game right now. They're a free agent. They're unemployed. Just to get back in.
Obviously, to keep working and because you never know who's watching. So whenever
Yes.
you're playing. Because that's when I didn't even know there was a scout there. I was just playing, trying to work my hardest when I got scout for Wimbledon, and it just happened to be someone there. And even when you are pro, you never know. Even when you are pro, you never just know who's watching. Even sometimes when I played against Leeds, the England manager was watching. Obviously, he wasn't watching. I think he was watching Calvin Phillips, but you just never know who's watching in the crowds, whether that's from amateur level to professional level. So just keep working hard, and that one person might take you to where you want to be.